Hello everybody and welcome to Knife Delights. I just got home from the antique store and this is my latest find, and I believe this to be a cattle knife, and from what I saw at the store I believe it's a Hammer brand. But as we open this up, we're going to open that up here and we're going to look, and it's very hard to read. There's so much rust and everything there, but I think I start to make out the word hammer there. So I just wanted to show you this knife before I do anything to it, before I start cleaning on it or anything. That's what the main clip point blade looks like. You can see it's hard to open. Hopefully a little mineral oil bath will help that out. And then here we have a punch. And we do have a third blade here. And this blade here, and it looks to be well worn. So I don't know if that used to be a spay blade or if that, I don't think it was a sheep's foot. It must have been like a spay blade. I don't know for sure what we have here, but it's rusted. So what I thought I'd do is walk you through this, and let's do this. I'm going to take my little patch here. Put a little bit of oil on it. I'm going to wipe this off just a little bit. Just kind of see. I want to confirm that it's a Hammer brand. What do we got now? Will it focus in there? Well, it's still not focusing real well, is it? Yep, I can see the arm. I can see the arm. You see the arm there? Let me show you what one of their tang stamps looks like. This is what their tang stamps looks like. They use 3 of them. There's this one here from 36 to 37. Then you have one there from 38 to 41. Then one from 45 to 55. And so if you look here close, you can see that arm. See that arm holding the hammer. Boy, maybe it's the lighting here. Let me see if I can get some better lighting. Hold on. Okay, get the flashlight out here. And there, you can see the arm up there holding that hammer. And you can see hammer. And I can start kind of see brand there. So this is a Hammer brand cattle knife. So I'm going to start off. I'm going to soak this up. See if we can't get those pivots and blades worked free. And while I have it here, I wanted to show you a little difference here. As you can see on the covers, those are like a stamped aluminum, and they're just kind of painted. And you can see the paint's chipped off of this. So it's just a light coat of paint. So I'll be taking this paint off. But there is a difference between like that's painted on, and the jigging is actually in the mold of the aluminum, versus this kind of knife where that's actually some sort of a Delrin or thermoplastic or something that they've done the fake jigging in, and it's actually pinned on here. So if this was all black, it looks very similar, but this one is just painted on. So anyway, I'm going to soak this knife, see if we can't get some action to it, and we'll start going through the process of restoring this knife. Well, let's see what we've got after our mineral oil bath. I let it soak for a few hours and then cycled the blades a few times. Then let it drain and kind of drip dry overnight. As you can see, it can get just a little bit messy. It takes a while to get all of this mineral oil back off. That's what our main blade's going to look like. There is some snap to it now. If you'll remember, it was awful hard to get them open and closed before. We're getting the snap back to them. That's terrific. So this is what the knife looks like now. I'll be cleaning on these blades. Have to get down into those channels and clean those out. have to finish removing this paint here. I'll be repainting these covers. And there's quite a bit of rust there on the back spring, so I'll probably have to use a little bit of sandpaper on that. Very light sandpaper, maybe 600 grit. Get rid of some of that rust on there. So that's what we've got after taking it out of the mineral oil. I used the little wire wheel here on the Dremel to clean off the tang stamp. And you have a better look at it right there. And the telltale sign is the USA that comes down the side here. And when we look at that on our chart here, it looks like this knife was made between 1945 and 1955. So that's where we're starting. Well, let's get started on this bad boy. We're going to clean the channels. We're going to clean the pivot areas, try to wipe them out. And I'll just kind of show you a little bit of how I do that. Well, as you can see, after poking and prodding around and doing a little scraping here with the cleaning patches and the little screwdriver, I got a whole bunch of crud out of there. But there's still quite a bit down in there that I want to try to get out, and I'm going to try to loosen that up, actually try to break it down. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a little bath here in some Dawn dishwashing soap and some warm water. We'll let it soak for a few hours and see if we can't get some of that grease and that's still down in there, get it broken down a little bit, and it might be a little easier to get out. So let's give her a soak. Let's check the results of soaking the knife here in some soapy water. It's been soaking for 2 or 3 hours. We'll pull the knife out here. And if you look down into the bottom down here, you can see that there's some stuff down in the water floating around down in there. So some stuff did come out. So our next step then is we obviously want to dry the knife off. Oh yeah, see some of that stuff that boiled up out of there? Just wiping the springs off here. Yep, it broke it down. We're getting some of that stuff off of there. So it was beneficial to let it soak here. I'm going to let it dry out. And then we'll probably go through it again with the cotton patches and a little bit of oil or something. And see what else we can dig out of it. But yeah, see how it's removing that stuff? And when we talk about our blade snap and that, you want to make sure these back springs are cleaned off good, because that can affect the walk and talk on your blades. Oh yeah, getting more of that off of there. So if they're, if you can see that back spring sticking up, see how it popped down, come out halfway. You can see the back spring come up. You want to make sure that on both sides of that back spring, they're as clean as can be too, and lubricated. So anyway, yeah. Next step is I got to let it get dried out. You don't want to leave it wet. You can always take a little spray here, this canned air spray. If it wasn't so cold out, I could go out and use my air compressor, but pretty cold out in the garage these days. So we can spray here and see if we get any stuff out of it and help dry it out a little bit. Okay, so now we're going to let her dry. After allowing the knife to get dried out, I went back in with my cotton patches here and just kept digging around and digging around. It's kind of like cleaning a firearm, how you just try to keep getting into every little nook and cranny. But you can see, because of the soaking in the Dawn dish soap, it loosened up even more stuff, and you're really able to get down in there and get it cleaned out even better. So it's a process of just doing it over and over, and you can repeat all of these steps depending on what your expected outcome is, but you can continue. If we look down in those channels, they're sure getting a lot cleaner down in there. As you can see, also, I took some sandpaper, just folded it up. This is like 600 grit sandpaper. You can get down in there and sand a little bit. You can put pressure back against this side of the liners, get the rust and the crud off of them. You can push down and actually push down on and get those back springs if you got a little rust down in there. And I had done that before. That helps loosen up some more stuff. And you just keep going over it. It just continues to keep coming out. I did do the back springs, all except the back spring for this one. I'll just show you that quick. The clean, you can see it's got a little crud on the back spring yet. So anything you can do to get that cleaned off, that helps your walk and talk on the knife. That helps your snap. So you just go over it again and again. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to continue on with this, getting into all the little nooks and crannies, and see how clean we can get it. After cleaning out as much of the junk as I can, I'm going to now start working on the blades and the back springs here, and just see how shiny or how clean we can get these blades and the back springs here. So I just start out here with rubbing compound number 7. Well, we can check our results here. As you can see, the blade's starting to shine up. These back springs are going to take some work. I'll probably have to use some sandpaper to get some of that off of there. But I will just continue this process over all the blades, hit the bolsters, and then work on these back springs also. The next step in the restoration of this knife is to paint the covers. The paint had come off pretty bad, and so I went ahead and removed all of the black paint that was on here, leaving both sides just looking, the silver aluminum color. I've done 2 coats on this side, and it's looking pretty good. I've went ahead and done 1 coat here, and I'm going to put another coat on here real quick. I didn't do anything fancy. I just bought some of this Testor's paint. It is oil-based, but I didn't do anything too fancy here. I just used a Q-tip. Of course, taped it off there a little bit. Used a Q-tip. and just kind of dabbed it in there. It actually looks fairly decent with one coat, but another little coat here wouldn't hurt. Pretty easy to do here, as you can see. Just kind of get it dabbed down in there. If I was to do this, shall we say, professionally, I'd probably want to get some sort of an airbrush and, you know, use some primer first, prime them, spray them. But, you know, with the jigging, you don't have to have a smooth paint job. Just got to get some paint dabbed down in there. And that's about all it takes. So we'll let this dry. We'll take the tape off and we will see what we have. Here we have the completed project. Got 2 coats of paint on both sides. If you look real close, I got a little bit I can get evened up there. Not quite even. But I think in comparison to where I started, I think she looks pretty nice. So here we go. Not too shabby, I don't think. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this project along with me. I sure had a lot of fun. And this will store nicely now. Another knife rescued. Thank you for joining me here on Knife Delights. And thanks to all my subscribers. And until next time, have a very delightful day.